I'm Kara, Executive Pastry Chef and founder of Kara's Cupcakes, and welcome to my Pastry and Development Kitchen right here in San Francisco in the Dogpatch neighborhood. Today, we're gonna make Kara's first, our chocolate velvet cupcake, a moist, rich chocolate cupcake with an Italian meringue chocolate buttercream rolled in French chocolate sprinkles. You're gonna love it. So let's get baking with Kara. The secret to being a great baker is gathering all of your ingredients before you start baking and making sure everything is at room temperature. What you want to do is mise en place each ingredient, which means to put in place. So read through your recipe, mise en place each ingredient so you can get organized and set up so baking becomes fun and celebratory. Now we're going to combine our dry ingredients. So we're going to take 2 cups of cake flour, and we're going to sift all of these together. And then we're going to take a half a cup of cocoa powder. We like to use Cho cocoa powder, which is right here in San Francisco. It's a local cocoa powder, and it makes a nice, delicious chocolate cupcake. Then we're going to take a teaspoon of baking soda and a half a teaspoon of salt. So now we have all of the dry ingredients in a bowl. We're gonna take a whisk and we're gonna sift it all together. When you start using your ingredients, you wanna make sure that your flour is actually pre-sifted so it's nice and smooth and light and not a heavy weighted down flour. In a mixing bowl with a flat beater attachment, we're gonna take 8 ounces of unsalted butter. At Kara's Cupcakes, we actually use local dairy right here from the Bay Area. We cut our unsalted butter in cubes and it allows it to come to room temperature. It's a little secret that you can use in your own kitchen. Now we're gonna add 2 cups of granulated sugar to our butter that's been whipping together here in our stand mixer. We're gonna add it carefully. It's slowly coming together. And what's gonna happen once you add all of that in a steady stream is the butter and the sugar are gonna slowly come together and get nice and fluffy, almost like a yellow fluffy batter. So I'm gonna turn this off for 1 moment. I'm gonna turn up the speed. And then it's gonna slowly come together. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes for the butter and the sugar to really whip together to form that nice fluffy consistency that we're looking for. I'm gonna take 4 eggs, and these eggs are actually Petaluma Farm Fresh eggs. These eggs are straight from Petaluma, and a pullet egg is actually an egg that is a smaller hen, and it produces a yellower, fluffier yolk, and so when you're making your cake gets that fluffier consistency to it. And then we're gonna slowly add 1 egg at a time. Now we like to add 1 egg at a time so that the eggs get incorporated and the batter becomes light and fluffy. If you make a mistake and let's say 2 eggs go in at once, it's okay, nothing's gonna happen, it's totally fine. We're going to take 1 cup of hot coffee. We like to use Equator coffee right here from the San Francisco Bay Area. And we're gonna take 6 ounces of chocolate Calais. We're going to pour them into our bowl. And then we're gonna take the hot coffee. We're gonna pour that over the chocolate and let it kind of steep there for a moment just to kind of bring it all together. And then we're gonna take our whisk and we're gonna whisk the hot chocolate and coffee together. You can smell that chocolate and coffee coming together. And this makes for a richer chocolate cake. So you can actually taste the richness of the chocolate coming out. The coffee brings it all together and makes it a nice, luscious, almost like a devil's food chocolate cake. Now we're going to take our coffee and chocolate mixture. We're going to set that aside and we're going to grab another ingredient, our cup of buttermilk and our 1 teaspoon of Madagascar bourbon vanilla. We're going to add it to our buttermilk. So we're going to take our dry ingredients. We're going to do 1/3 of this to begin with, right into the mixing bowl, right into that butter mixture. And then we're going to take 1/3 of the hot coffee mixture and pour that right in as well. Just a little bit, because again, we want to keep it all coming together. 1/3 of our buttermilk and vanilla, and let that slowly form together into our cupcake batter. When all of the ingredients is incorporated into your mixing bowl, you're now ready to scoop your chocolate cupcake batter into your lined cupcake tray. So I've lined a 12 cupcake tray right here on my sheet pan. I'm going to take my ice cream scoop, and I like to use one that has a release on it so I can release the batter when I go to scoop it into my cupcake lined pan. I'm going to slowly put the ice cream scoop into the chocolate batter, fill it all the way full, and slowly drop it into a liner. And now we have our cupcake batter ready to go in our oven at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. So we're gonna start with 4.5 ounces of sugar in a saucepan, right on your stovetop, and we're gonna bring this to 220-degree Fahrenheit boil, or a firm ball for simple syrup. You're gonna pour a little bit of water on top to kind of cover the top of your sugar. So while your simple syrup is on the stovetop getting ready to boil, you're going to take 6.5 ounces of egg whites and pour them into your mixing bowl with a whisk attachment. And the reason we're using the whisk attachment is because it's going to beat egg whites into a light, fluffy consistency, and that whisk attachment helps form the air in the egg whites to get it that nice and fluffy meringue chocolate velvet buttercream frosting. While the simple syrup is heating up to 220 degrees on the stovetop, we're gonna add another 4.5 ounces of granulated sugar to the egg whites that are whipping on your mixer. And it's one of those things you wanna watch. You don't wanna walk away from your stove. You wanna watch your sugar. You know, they say like a watched pot never boils. This one boils really fast, so you wanna stay with it. We're gonna take our thermometer off, and we're going to take our saucepan. Be very careful because it's a really hot sugar. And we're gonna gradually pour that into the egg whites. And as that sugar goes in, you'll slowly start to see the egg whites coming together and forming a really beautiful meringue, almost like a light, fluffy pillow. And we're gonna let that go for about 5 minutes. And what this is doing, the whipping of that whisk, is it's bringing the egg whites nice and fluffy, and then it's also cooling them down, so then we can add the butter and the chocolate to make this delicious Italian meringue buttercream. The egg whites are at a nice firm peak with the simple syrup incorporated in the sugar. We're going to add 20 ounces of unsalted butter, and this is gonna help bring the buttercream together. We have our buttercream ready to go. We call this a buttercream base, and it's our egg whites, our simple syrup, our sugar, and our unsalted butter. And now we're going to take our 6 ounces of melted chocolate that we've melted over the stovetop. If you don't have time to do that, you can easily add it into your microwave. And we're going to add it into our buttercream base. And it's coming together to form our chocolate velvet buttercream frosting. I'm going to take my piping bag of chocolate buttercream. And I have a round tip here, which makes for a nice smooth dollop when you're piping cupcakes. And I'm going to place the piping bag carefully over the top of the chocolate cupcake. I'm going to give some gentle light pressure and kind of give a roll of the wrist to create a nice round dollop. And I'll start with the cupcake again right here in the center. Again, releasing with a nice round dollop. Take the cupcake bag right over the center of the cupcake, release with the turn of the wrist and a nice round dollop. We'll just pipe a few more of these. And then we're gonna take our cupcake, make a nice little center in the Calabo sprinkles so you can make like a nice little home for your cupcake. We're gonna actually turn this cupcake upside down, and we're gonna gently roll it in the chocolate sprinkles so we form a nice round dollop, almost like the half of a tennis ball. And we're going to take a little bit more. Again, safely, you're turning it upside down. That's okay. Your frosting is gonna remain on there. So you get it nice and covered in a complete chocolate velvet cupcake. Thanks so much for joining me in my kitchen today. I'm gonna take a little bite, and you guys get baking.